Welcome to Sometimes There's Side Eye, a podcast about two friends having real and unfiltered conversations about dogs and people. Listen as we talk about our lives with dogs, training, behavior, share some laughs, and a whole lot of banter. I am Heather.
And I'm Christy. Hi there. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about things to consider when you're thinking about getting a new dog or puppy or breed, all the things. Okay, what are some things that are straight off the mark, just first things that somebody should think about if they're considering getting a new dog, no matter what age?
Yeah, I think what you like.
I think considering your lifestyle, this is not a time for you to judge yourself because you spent the weekend Netflixing and chilling and not going on a 16-mile hike. This is a time to be real about what your actual lifestyle looks like. Do you want to go on walks every day? Do you want to hike on the weekends? You truly are a homebody and you want just a dog that's going to chill and hang out with you and be your best friend. Well, they're all our best friends, but that is really not going to need a whole bunch of activity, really just considering what your lifestyle looks like.
Right. You don't want to go into getting a new dog or a breed and think, wow, I really want a high energy dog so that I can get in shape.
Yeah.
I promise you it doesn't work like that. I mean, it could, maybe. There's always an outlier,
Yep.
but I'm going to say 99% of the time it does not work that way. So be honest about where you're at, housing wise too,
Yeah.
your physical limitations, your housing limitations, and maybe you're not super active, but you want a high energy dog. Do you have a backup plan? If you're not able to go out and hike 16 miles, how are you going to exercise that dog?
Yeah. Dog walker,
And yeah,
daycare, different options.
treadmills,
Mhm.
enrichment, all of the things, but know that you're still going to invest a lot of time
And
to
money,
exercise that dog. Yes.
potentially. Basically, what you're saying is getting a border collie is not a way to put yourself into a diet plan.
Right. Also not a Vizsla or
No,
a,
I always
you know,
pick I always pick on the border collies.
you do. I don't know why,
Because
but
it's
any
like,
of those
you know,
hunting type dogs. Yeah.
hunting, herding, high energy. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I will say when I got Lucy, I was in a very different place than I am now. I was very physically fit. And I specifically said, I want a high energy dog who can hike with me all weekend long, who can go on runs with me. And I did. She went on 13-mile runs. She
I
could
would
do
die.
30-mile, right, 13-mile runs on the street or 10 miles trail runs. And even though I was that what I didn't think through was at the time I was also doing an hour of CrossFit every single night and about an hour and a half of swimming 2 times a week. So that's 2.5 hours out of one night after working a full schedule.
Mm,
So by the time I got home, man, I was tired. I didn't want to go for another 4-mile walk or run
mhm.
with her. I'd exercised for 2.5 hours. And I did. I would take her on a 3-mile walk or run every single night.
'Cause you are a better
A
owner
lot.
than I.
It was a lot. I was younger. I could do it, but it was a
But
lot.
it's a good point. It's more about looking at the whole picture
Right.
than just saying, "Oh, I go and I really like to hike on the weekends." Well, what about during the week when if you work outside the home or your schedule's super busy and you have kids or whatever you have going on? And then I think measuring that against also anyone else in your home that you might live with, what does the picture look overall and how you can meet that dog's needs?
Exactly.
Because a
Exactly.
dog
So
whose needs are met is a fantastic dog to live with.
yeah, absolutely. So that's just one thing to consider is that dogs aren't meant to be weekend warriors either.
Mm,
Just like people aren't meant to be weekend warriors. You
mhm.
need to exercise during the week. And people who don't get their exercise during the week are high strung like that. Back like 10 years ago, like me, you get crazy during the week. And dogs are the same way. You get itchy to go out and run
Yeah.
and do all the things. So think through that a little bit too. I think even beyond just exercise, do you enjoy the type of exercise that dog is designed for?
Mm,
So different breeds are designed for different exercise. So the sprints or versus long runs, hard trails versus a meandering walk around the block. All of those things, think through kind of what that breed might have been designed for as well. And I know that can kind of get tricky with mixed breeds or
mhm.
adoption,
But you can look at
but
body construction
mhm,
overall.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
And then honor like that dog where it is too.
I'm more likely to take a Rottweiler on a hike with large hills and whatnot versus a bulldog. Not saying bulldogs
That
can't hike, but if I'm really looking to look into the future with a dog that I'm getting, it just
makes
makes
sense.
sense out of, yeah, what their bodies are constructed like.
And I've been on a hike with both the
I
bulldog and
know,
the
I know.
Rottweiler.
Tater is not a good example, okay? Because Tater in his heyday could do a 3-mile hike. He could do it. So,
Now he can, but
no.
most
N
recent,
Yeah,
yeah, it
no,
was not.
not now.
We turned around pretty quickly.
Well, I tried to warn you, but
No,
Tater
it was
was like,
fine.
"No, ma'am, I will not." Something else that is obviously near and dear to my heart is grooming needs. And
Yes.
that is not just from a visual standpoint of what you like. I personally really think a scruffy looking dog is adorable, but I don't want to own one because I like a very soft, smooth coat forever. But I also don't wanna groom a dog who has
Mhm.
any sort of if I have to put you on a grooming table for anything other than fun, I don't wanna do it. So, I
Mm.
am all about, "Hey, nails once a week, maybe a little bit of light." I don't even wanna say light trimming. No, no grooming, nails. Nails and baths. That's as far as I go.
Yeah. And I will say for me, like nails, baths, brushing is fine.
Nope, don't wanna
But
brush.
see, brushing doesn't bother me at all. I definitely know that I do not want to groom a
No.
dog myself because I've done it and it was bad.
Yep,
It
yep.
was an embarrassment to all.
No one should let Christy near a freaking dog with a pair of scissors. It should never
No,
happen.
no, mad respect to groomers
Yeah.
for sure.
And I don't wanna deal with it, and I don't wanna
Mm.
have to make the appointment and have it and pay for it. Grooming's expensive and for good
Yeah,
reason, but it's
yeah.
just not an extra step in my life that I wanna have to handle. So for
Mhm.
me, anything to do with grooming is out. Also, I like my dogs to be able to swim and I love wash and wear. So
Mm.
that's even hosing them off after they swim just feels like too much. I know. I know.
You're hilarious.
Low maintenance.
Well, you love the low maintenance as far as fur is
Yeah,
concerned.
I know, right?
You
And
like
then
high maintenance in other areas.
I don't mind the high maintenance in other areas, but yeah.
Yeah, like health.
Frick.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
big one for me. I
yeah.
don't want a dog that is known for certain health issues.
Mm,
That there's certain health issues once you go through it, even though you would never wish to have that health issue again, you feel like I'm prepared for that. Like I
yeah,
could do it again. It would not be my preference to do it
yeah,
again, but I could make it through. And then there's others that I watched one of my coworker lose boxer after boxer after boxer to cancer,
yeah,
and I think she lost 3 dogs in the time I had Lucy to cancer, all from a reputable breeder. But I thought, I don't that's not what I wanna sign. I love boxers. I
mhm,
think they're hilarious and cute and so fun. But I really have to take a step back on that
yeah,
before I would commit to owning a boxer
yeah.
for that reason.
I get in this really sticky situation because so many of the breeds that I adore and love have health issues.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
I'm like, eh. I mean, a huge piece of why I think that Tiago will be my last Rottweiler is health concerns. And we've had 4 pit bulls. All 4 of them had various orthopedic issues or some sort of chronic illness. For me, the allergy thing is a huge, huge avoid at all costs.
Mhm.
And I would really love to like this whole IBD journey with Tiago has been brutal. I really
Do you wanna define what that is?
irritable bowel disease, like people. In our house, we really just love to be able to give our dogs whatever. Okay, not bad table scraps and stuff like that, but if we're making something, like,
Table scraps.
I know, we wanna, like, toss them a little something. Yeah,
Yeah, I
whatever.
get it.
And when Tiago first got sick, we were sad because
Yeah.
it makes their world so small, and when you're somebody who loves to train, it makes it really difficult, and not to mention the expense and the stress of worrying because IBD and what affects the dog can change. It's like allergies, both of those. They're
Yeah.
like an ever-changing thing, and I think that's why those 2 really come up for me pretty heavy and strong. Obviously, the elbow thing is a real bitch. I would take
Mhm.
a dog with a chronic knee issue probably over all 3 of those because 'cause I've been through a knee surgery and it was pretty simple, all things considered. But yeah, the chronic autoimmune
Mm,
stuff
yeah.
is a real downer. So I agree, the health stuff, I mean, everybody's probably like, "But you're getting a Frenchie."
Yeah.
But
So Heather says the health stuff, but
I know.
FYI, she's getting a Frenchie.
But I'm getting a Frenchie from an ethical breeder who's doing everything possible to have them as healthy as possible, and I fought it like
Absolutely.
hell. I fought it, but here I am anyway. Yeah, so those kinda health issues are not anything that I'm like, "Ooh, sign me up for that." Obviously, the cancer is hell on earth because that's
Yeah.
life ending, but yeah.
Yeah, and I will say I feel like I had it pretty easy with Lucy. She did have severe poultry allergies. As far as I had it easy with allergies. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
she didn't
For
have
a
to
pit
be
bull,
on
yes.
yeah, she didn't have to be on any
Yeah.
meds for it continuously, but she did at one point chew all the hair off her tail. It took a long time for me to figure out what she was allergic to, and I still feel like I got off pretty easy with that. But while I was trying to figure it out, it was very annoying. It was uncomfortable for her, it was annoying for me, it was
Yeah,
I
and
would
I
prefer not to do that again, but
Tater has some little environmental stuff, but it's
mhm,
nothing major. When I say allergies, I mean, I've had 2 pit bulls
yeah,
that had to be on consistent medications daily, and we struggled with environmental
yeah,
and food allergies, and it really affected their quality of life. That's the kind of
yeah,
stuff I'm talking about. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. Yeah, and it does become difficult. Chicken makes its way into
Woof,
so many things,
it's
like
everywhere.
everything dog, and so it does become very difficult. I remember trying to look for a grain-free, poultry-free senior dog food.
Yeah.
They were like, "That doesn't exist." Oh, and also fish made her very itchy, so
Mm,
grain-free, poultry-free,
fish
fish-free.
free.
Yeah, and then was very much, "No, that doesn't exist. Get out of here."
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it took some hunting down.
And I think it's
Yeah.
tough when you're looking at adopting a dog, especially adopting a puppy. It's hard. You don't have a crystal ball. So that makes it really difficult. But if health stuff is a super, super huge concern to you, like maybe you do consider going the adult route for at least a dog who's fully developed, maybe 3 or older. So you have
Mhm,
some insight into what health issues they could potentially have because they're full grown.
mhm. Yeah. Speaking of food,
Yeah.
food motivated is a big one for me.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
I like dogs who are food motivated.
Love it.
And there are certain breeds that are more prone to that than others. So that's something to consider. You can kind of look through the breeds you like and see if they are more prone. Every dog's an individual, but you can see if they're more prone to certain things
All you have
like
to
food
do is, like,
motivation.
Google labs and food motivation, and you'll see that
Mhm.
they're highly food motivated because everyone talks
Always.
about how do you get a lab to not chew your hand off taking their treats.
Yes.
I mean, Tiago's extremely food motivated, but then the flip
Mhm.
side of that is Tater, I have to be careful because he is so food crazy as a bulldog
Mm,
that he will
mhm.
go over threshold. So in Tater's case, it's almost a negative, and it took me a while
Right.
to really get that figured out. And that when I was training, depending on what I'm doing, I can't use the good stuff for him because he loses his head.
Right.
He downright loses his mind.
Right.
So I think there is a fine line there, but I agree. And I personally, because I'm not I'm not a Mal person or a Shepherd person or a person who really loves to do the toy stuff because I'm completely not coordinated whatsoever. I don't want to do the toy play thing. I've tried it. I'm not good at it. It's just not, it's not pretty. So I really prefer the food motivated over anything else.
Yeah, I also prefer food motivated over tugging on a toy,
Yeah.
but that's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also really prefer intelligent dogs.
Oh, define that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all I wanted to say on that. No. No, I
Give us
do
more,
enjoy
Christy.
I enjoy a dog who can think through things and catch on to things pretty quickly. They make you feel smart. Like,
Yeah.
they make you feel like
Tiago
a
makes
good
me
trainer, really.
Tiago makes me look good, man. I didn't know how
Yeah, so
shitty I
probably
was until I got
prob
Tater.
see, there you it's probably for selfish reasons I want that, but, yeah, I do enjoy a dog that can work things out on their own, and if I mess up, it's not the end of the world. They can figure out kind of what I'm getting at and
Mhm.
kinda guess what I want, and then there's some give and take in that relationship. I
Yeah.
know with my brother's dog, I can train her. I've trained, like, several dogs to high five and shake, no problem. Literally 4 days she was with me, and I'm like, "Just freaking shake my hand."
Are you
Like,
still working on that?
she does not have it. She
Yeah.
does not have it.
You know what's
I'm not
funny?
saying she's not intelligent, she's just not intelligent when it comes to tricks.
I was just thinking as you were talking about this, I really like a dog that kind of picks up on patterns, which sort of goes along with what you were saying. Both
Yeah.
my boys, if I do something maybe twice in a row, then next time I go to do the same sequence of events, they're like, oh, I got this. I know what I'm doing. I don't get annoyed by it. I actually love it. It makes me smile.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh. And I love that my dogs feel, I don't know, feel comfortable just kinda taking the lead I don't know how to describe it, but I love that they're just like, "Oh, okay, this is what we're doing. I know what we're doing. I got this," you know? I don't find it
Yeah.
annoying at all.
No, no, they're trying to do the thing that they think you want, and that's
Yeah,
endearing.
I love
Yeah,
it. I
yeah.
even when I put up the X Pen and tell Tiago that he has to wait while I'm working with a puppy and he lets himself in, I
Mhm.
would love to say I get mad, but I laugh my ass off. I think it's adorable, which is why he still does it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I will say that did backfire on me, the intelligence, a little
Yeah.
bit with Lucy, in that she quickly found out in rally, during our rally practices, if I was stuck on a sign or she didn't like how I was giving the command, she would knock the sign over.
Yep, we
And
have it on video.
she quickly learned that it got quite the response from everyone else, lots of laughter, lots of joy, and so she would literally knock the sign down and look at everybody else
Yep, still one of the best
and wait
moments
for
I've
her
ever
applause.
seen. And
Yes,
Tater does that too,
so
like,
proud of herself.
yeah, at barn hunt, if he jumps off a bale and people are like, "Oh," like, whatever. If he gets a response out of everybody, all of a sudden it's the Tater one-man show, and he's doing circles and frickin' jumping jacks and spins and God knows what, and I'm over there going, "Respect your body!" And it's just a mess. So, I do find it very, very endearing. I love
I
that.
do too. I
I
do
think
too. I think
part of
like every time, it honestly it made me laugh every time. I
yeah,
was like, I can't even be mad at this.
do you think that part of the reason because that's a pit bull, a bulldog, and a Rottweiler, and they all have that, and you and I definitely use shaping in training. I wonder if there's some kind of because we encourage our dogs to kind of figure it out, experiment and stuff. I wonder if there's something to that.
I don't know.
I don't know, just a thought. So what else? What do you like aesthetically?
Well, so
'Cause that's
um
something to consider. It is. It's not
yeah.
how I wouldn't say to somebody, "Only pick a dog because you like how they look," but you still wanna like how they look.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to be repulsed by your own dog.
Let's not.
You know? Like, no. Aesthetically, I like anything from a medium to an extra large dog for myself. There are a few small dogs that I like Pomeranians. I just
Mm.
think they are hilarious. Their
Mhm.
personality just If I was just doing a lineup and knew nothing about them, I probably wouldn't pick them out, but combined, their looks combined with their personality
Yeah.
gets me every time. But I would say size matters to me.
Yes.
I just don't kill me if you're a Chihuahua owner. That's not my breed of choice. There are several Chihuahuas that I like. I
That's
still
true.
don't want to own them. I still don't want to own them. I really like them for other people, not for me. I like a bigger dog. I have a lot of flexibility in what I like too, as far as looks. I mean, I love a scruffy dog. I love a smooth coat dog. I love long hair and short hair. I just kind of like it all. Blocky heads. I like a lab head and I like a Doberman pinscher head. I think
Oh,
they're both
yeah.
equally attractive.
I do agree with you there though, because I would say if I had to choose my number one aesthetic look, I mean, no one's going to be surprised for me to say a Rottweiler. I mean,
Oh, shocking.
that's it for me. But I do really love the look of some sight hounds, like
Yes.
a Borzoi or an
Hmm.
Ibethan hound or a Pharaoh
Hmm.
hound. So there's different types that I like. I love a smooth coated Brussels Griffon. If no one knows what that looks like, go Google it. It's adorable.
I love a rough coated Brussels Griffon.
Shut up. So there's a lot of variety. I also like really love a lot of the bully looks. And,
Hmm. Yeah.
somehow I've ended up with all these brachiocephalic dogs with these smush noses. So
Hmm.
I have a lot of variety of what I like visually. But my point is, you definitely want to consider that and then put that together with a grooming aspect and try to figure out where your special sauce is and decide what you're okay with and what you're not. And then size,
Yeah.
obviously. And considering, okay, is there a potential I could ever live in an apartment or a small space? And what does that look like if you have a Great Dane? I don't know,
Mhm.
just things to think
And a
about.
Great Dane is
Oh, they
probably a
actually do
much
great.
better fit,
Yeah.
yeah, in an apartment than a lot of medium-sized
Yeah.
dogs, like,
No, that's
I
true.
don't know.
I was just thinking
I'm trying to think
size-wise.
of a medium-sized dog, but
That might
yeah,
not
and
do
one
well
of
in an apartment?
yeah.
Yeah, like a barkier breed, like a
Uh,
Sheltie.
oh, yeah, okay, yeah, probably not gonna do
They're
great.
known to be
Yeah,
barky. Yeah.
exactly. So,
What else do we have
yeah,
to consider?
I do think on the size too, you have to consider your physical ability
Yeah.
as well, because I would love a greater Swiss Mountain Dog. I think they're great. I've dog sat for them. I think they're fantastic dogs. Really enjoyed the one I dog sat for. Back in the day, I was probably strong enough
Yep.
to deal with that. Now I have like some arthritis in my elbow, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not a spring chick. Considering size, I have to consider where I'm at physically as well,
Yep.
and what I can do with that. And also, I find myself considering what my parents can also handle,
Oh,
as far as because I live close to my parents, and my dog will go over to my parents' house on holidays and things if we're gonna be there all day. My brother's dog will come over as well, and I never want my parents to walk my dog or anything like that, but is this dog gonna run them over?
right, right.
Is it gonna knock them down? Those types of things have to be in my mind, or do I need to leave the dog at home? So
Yeah.
I'd rather have a dog I can include on those family events than constantly finding a dog sitter or constantly having to leave the dog home for hours on end if we're doing an all day family thing.
Yeah, it's a fair point. A consideration aside from the stuff we already mentioned of me not getting another Rottweiler is Tiago's going to live until I'm 89. So that's if somehow that didn't happen, I'm going to be
It's
45.
gonna happen.
I know. I'm gonna be 45, so if I think that I would be looking to get and I don't like having 2 large dogs at the same time. So
Mm,
if I were looking to get another Rottweiler, maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the road, I'm gonna be almost 50, and then thinking that that dog, because I like a male, is gonna be extremely strong, and although Tiago is only 76 pounds, he's very strong, and thinking about me being 50 and having this extremely strong dog into my late 50s, there are plenty of people who do it way longer than that, and I
yeah,
applaud you. But when I went to compete and I had taken Tiago in the ring, and then I went and grabbed Bulldog and I took him in the ring, the considerable ease that was
Mm.
felt. It's like you're going from this tank that you cannot carry to this 45-pound dog that you can lift if you need to, no problem. And
Absolutely, yeah.
that just doesn't have the strength and the ability to yank you around. And Tiago's trained, but let's face it, if a dog wants to go left, they're going left. It really was a factor for me. I have neck and back problems. So it was something I never thought a ton about until I started running them back to back and feeling
Mm,
the actual physical difference. That made me pause. So
mhm,
I didn't expect to go to a 20-pound dog, but here we are. So, yeah, I think that size and strength and
mhm.
all of that stuff is a factor. Unfortunately, I also think that your living situation is a factor. If you're a single
Absolutely.
person and
Mhm,
you have a 80-pound dog and God forbid you ever need to get, that dog passes out or something tragic happens and you need to move that dog into your vehicle to get it to
mhm,
emergency, what is your plan? How are you going to do that? There's no
mhm,
way in hell I could move Tiago by myself if he
mhm.
was dead weight. I could not do it. So that's a factor.
Yeah, definitely. And I think going off of the living situation too, it is also a factor of you need to think through your living situation, not just how it is today,
Yeah.
but how it might be in 5 or 10, 15 years. I remember when my cousin was looking for a dog and she said, "Well, our apartment, it's fine. Our apartment allows all breeds, so it doesn't really matter." And I said, "But wait, how long are you planning on being at that specific apartment? Do you guys have a game plan to buy a house? What
Mhm.
is your plan moving forward?" And she goes, "Oh, well, we'll be here for at least another couple of years, and then I don't know." Well, okay, your next apartment may not be so inclusive because she was thinking maybe a pit bull,
Yeah.
maybe some of these other breeds that are banned at other apartments. And they ended up with a very small, scruffy, I don't know, terrier or something. But I did have to step in and say, consider where you're going.
Yeah.
If you're not planning on being in the same apartment for 15 years or 10 years, think through that.
Yeah, I think it's a good point because when we were moving to Texas for my job, we had, which was unexpected, we had a Rottweiler and two pit bulls. And
Mm,
let me tell you, if you think finding a rental in Arizona is hard with pit bulls and a Rottweiler,
mm,
in Texas, Houston, Texas, it was damn near impossible. And we ended up having to pay a really, really large deposit to be able to get a rental so that we could take our dogs with us. And we're so lucky that we were able to do that and that my
mhm,
employer was moving us. So it was kind of their deal to handle, but that's not always the case. And so if you are in a situation where you think your living arrangements could change, then I agree. I think it's something just to consider, especially
yeah.
if we hope that someday happens that no breeds are banned at all anywhere.
Right.
But that's not our reality today. If you're looking at the bully type breeds, the Rottweilers, the Dobermans, the Shepherds, it's something to
Mhm,
think about. There's an added level of consideration when you're looking at
mhm.
those types of dogs, like it or lump it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even vacationing can be difficult. I know I found several times that when looking for hotels or looking for Airbnbs, they'll say dogs are welcome, except no pit bulls. And I'm
Yep.
like, come on, guys. But that's something to consider too. Also, I know when we were looking at going to California together with Tiago and Lucy, lots of hotels said pet friendly, and then it was pet friendly up to 30 pounds. And
Yes.
then after that, there were some hotels who wanted $100 per night per dog for anything over 30 pounds. I mean, no offense, but I don't really want to pay an extra $200 a night for
Oh,
some of these crummy hotels. Like, I was like,
no.
the hotel's only $80 a night, and we would pay
Yeah.
280.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
So things
and
to consider.
not even just with the things like that to consider when you're going with these bigger breeds or however you want to say it, but your vet costs and everything can go up when you're looking at a bigger dog. I was just thinking as you were talking about that, it's more expensive to get anesthesia for a larger dog. It's more expensive to spay a larger dog. It's more, everything's more expensive.
It's a lot more
So,
expensive to feed them.
Yeah, that too. So if you're
Yeah.
considering and you're trying to remain cognizant of your budget, maybe size is also a factor that's tied to your financial decisions too. So it's just something else that I was thinking of while you were talking.
And I will say for me, personality is huge.
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
one of the biggest things for me is personality. And you can lump a lot in with personality, but I like a dog who is not too serious. I'm not
Mhm.
too serious. Like
Yep.
not overly competitive. I don't need to win things. I just want to have a good time. And I like a dog who wants to kind of goof off, can be serious if needed, can get down to work when needed, but mostly just wants to hang out and be fun. That's my kind of dog.
Yeah, I really love even though Rottweilers are my breed, part of what I love is that they always have a touch of silly. That's why I like the
Yeah.
boys. They always have that little touch of silly, and I just love that about them. I really love well, actually, you brought it up because Tiago and Tater stayed with you for a weekend. I love a dog who's, like, in it for me. Tiago's he's not annoying about being right there, but man, he's
Yeah.
right there. He's like, "Oh, is it time? Are we ready? No?
Are we doing the thing?
Yeah,
I'm
are we
like, "We're
doing
not
the
doing
thing right now?"
anything." He's like, "The thing was just walking to the living room. I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that." Like,
sorry.
"No, that was so
The
fun."
event is over. Yeah, no, I love a dog who's here for it. So I agree that goes along with the personality part. I do. I love a dog with a sense of humor. I love a dog who is just doesn't take themselves too seriously and really has a zest for life. I don't know that I really care what that looks like necessarily. That
Yeah,
you know they're just living their best life and they're like full of joy. And I do I love that.
and some confidence in there. They don't
Yes.
have to be confident in every situation. Lucy was not confident in new situations, but she was a confident dog
Mm,
in so many ways, and so that confidence is fun because
mhm,
then she could just be who she was
mhm.
instead of worrying about all the outside stimulus or worrying about other things. She could just let her whole personality shine, you know?
And you never
And I
had
like
to worry about what adventure you were gonna take with her because you knew she could handle it. It's the same I feel about Tiago. I don't worry, I know he can handle it because he's a confident guy, so
I think with personality, 2 things that are really important to me are dog social, a
yes.
dog being dog social, and a dog being people social. I don't need my dog to be best friends with everyone, but I also don't need my dog to be grumbling
Mhm,
and snapping at people either. I want them to be able to deal with a variety of people and not have to be best friends with them, but also not be afraid of them. And the same with dogs. Like, I need the same thing. A variety of dogs. They don't have to be best friends with everyone, but like I just need you to be at least social where
mhm.
you can be in existence with other dogs. I'd really like them. I mean, let's be honest. I need a dog that's going to play with other dogs because
Yeah.
I find so much joy in watching those behaviors. But more importantly, is the all around social.
Yeah, I just didn't even think about those because 'cause they're just such a requirement for me that I'm just like, "That goes without saying." Obviously, I need a dog social dog, and I do everything in my power to, like, make that happen in a respectful way for the dog, but I need it to be there as just part of their DNA. And then
Mhm.
people social, I agree. I'm an extrovert more than Christy, probably, definitely.
Let me just say, I was recently at the airport and I had several people try to have full conversations with me. And I thought, oh, Heather would really enjoy this. But I would like you to stop talking to me so I can do nothing, not interact with you.
So I prefer a dog who is as social as I am. But no, I really love interacting with people, whether I know you or I don't know you, I don't care. And I love a dog that feels comfortable to just be around people. The kids thing is I'm not going to have children. I don't have kids in my life, but I do have nieces and nephews who visit maybe once a year, once every 2 years. So the kid thing isn't as big of a deal to me because I can manage that. I don't want them to be uncomfortable around children in public. I would never want that. But being comfortable to live with kids is whatever to me.
Yeah, I will say Lucy had several children over the years. You can do your best, but if you're taking your dog in public, things are gonna happen. So
Yeah.
I had on the hiking trail, I had a child run up and hug her
Ugh.
and he ran from behind. So I didn't even see it coming. And she like kind of put her head like she did the side eye and then realized it was a child and was like, okay, well, that's fine, I guess. So things happen.
Mhm.
And so I want to be comfortable knowing that's not going to become a bite.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I think sometimes people are probably listening to this and thinking like, well, okay, how do you if you're getting a mixed breed dog or a rescue
Mm.
puppy, how do you make sure all of that is there? One, I think you have to make some decisions on what's really, really important to you. And maybe having a puppy is not the best option if there's some things in there. Like for me, the sociability for people and dogs is so high on my list that I probably wouldn't be willing to chance having a puppy because I don't believe it's all in how you raise them.
Mhm.
I believe that there's a lot of DNA that contributes to
Mhm.
that. So I
Nurture
would
and
want
nature.
yeah, I would want a full-grown adult, sexually mature dog
Yep.
who is showing me that, yes, they are in fact dog social. Yes, they are in fact people social. I think another way we can do that though is to look up breed descriptions too. If
Mm.
there's a dog that you really like, look that up and see. It's a little tough because I'm going to be honest,
Yeah.
over the weekend I
Mhm.
decided, well, if I'm going to give this advice, maybe I should look up some
I was gonna
breeds.
call you out on the dog that we tried to assess on your vacation that we utterly
Oh,
failed
yeah,
based on physical
we did.
description.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
we
that
didn't
dog
know.
100% looks like a border
Border
collie
collie
mix.
mix. Mhm. We
Could be a
both
border
said it.
collie lab.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
both said it.
the rescue had also said border collie.
Oh,
The foster mom said border collie. The owner said border collie. Everyone who's ever met the dog says border collie. They did DNA testing. There's zero border collie
yeah, I
in that.
remember the chow part, I remember the pit bull part, I remember the German Shepherd part.
Amstaff
Oh,
and
Amstaff,
lab.
yeah, mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely
Mhm.
no border collie.
No border collie. But I do think you can look up some breed descriptions if you have a pretty good idea of what the
Mhm.
dog is. Like Shar for example, they are not going to be their breed description does not say social with strangers. They're social within their family.
Right,
So if you're looking for a dog that's going to be social with strangers, you might come across a Shar who is,
yeah.
but
If you're
that's not what you
stacking
should expect
if you're
from that
stacking the
breed.
deck in your favor for a lifelong
Exactly.
match and happiness between you and the dog, you really wanna think about those types of things. Yeah.
Right. And guess what? On the Chihuahua, nowhere in the breed description does it say brave. It does not say that they should be a
Did you
brave
look
dog.
did you look
I
for it?
did.
Oh my
I did
god.
because I wanted to see what the breed standard was
Yeah,
because we all know a Chihuahua.
yeah.
And yeah, it does not say brave, but
I'm not
Rottweiler does
surprised.
say that they
Yeah,
should be brave
yeah.
without being aggressive,
To be
which is
honest, Tiago's a broken
such a great
Rottweiler.
I did read
In
that and
the
think,
very best
yeah,
way.
he
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 is
is.
because he's not aloof.
Yeah.
So, my very hardcore Rottweiler friends would consider him a broken Rottweiler, and that's fair. I love a little watered down Rottweiler, but he just because he's so, so friendly. And part of that is nurture and nature. I built him that way throughout his development, and I just added that right on top of his DNA. And out came this dog who is hypersocial, and there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like when Jer and I first started dating and we were going to get a dog, he wanted a pit bull and I wanted a lab. Can you imagine? 20
I'm
years
sorry, could you
ago.
just repeat
Yep.
that? What
20
breed did you want?
20 years ago, I wanted a lab. He wanted a pit bull. I had grown up with golden retrievers and basset hounds. And you know what we did? I sat down and I read through every single description of personalities for every large breed on AKC at the time that I found visually attractive, and we
Mhm.
landed on a Rottweiler.
Okay.
Yep. And it was the perfect match for me. But yes, can you imagine? I would have been sorry, lab people, but not for me. I would have just been, no.
Which is funny because I do feel like a lab could fit you
No, they're too vanilla
with
for
a
me.
no, because 'cause they're so outgoing and they're so
Oh, they're too
social and,
vanilla
like,
for me.
"Sorry, you're vanilla."
No. I don't want a vanilla dog.
And labs are not vanilla. We're
Mm.
gonna cut that out of the podcast because Heather is absolutely being ridiculous.
Anyway, so we started this episode by talking about things to think about when you're considering another dog, and then we end up just talking about the shit that we like. So, but I
So things
suppose
we've considered.
I know. So I guess we did give you some tips on things to consider based on the world revolving around us and our dogs.
Yeah. Oh, can I say one other thing?
Yeah,
That
it's our world. Go ahead.
I really would like a dog with a recall.
Oh, Tiago's recall is something of beauty.
So here's the thing. I always thought Lucy did not have a recall. But then I dog sat Tater, who does not have a recall. In my own home, I didn't really feel like that was a recall. If I say, "Lucy, come here," from the backyard, she comes here and she comes
Oh,
inside the house. Or if
0.
I'm on the couch and she's at the door and I say, "Come here," she's going to come to me. Tater stared at me like I was the stupidest human being in the world, and he did not understand a word I was saying. And
So true.
I was like, "What is happening? Did you go deaf?"
No, dog does not care. He does not care. The only way that he is coming to you on a supposed recall, he's just faking, is if you have food. That's it. That was one of the adjustments I had to make when I started living with a bulldog. That their middle finger's up 24/7. And unless there's something in it for them, it's just not happening. It's a different world. Meanwhile, I have Tiago on the other hand, who I literally just make a T sound and he's already at my feet sitting in front of me going, "Yeah, mom, what do you need?" It's a completely
So
different
I
world.
said, I need something in between those 2. I don't need a dog that is immediately by my side, but also has some sort of listening ears at some point.
I will say this. I will be starting with a recall from day one on my Frenchie because I feel like she could go the tater route, and I
Yeah,
really don't want to have that happen again. So
yeah,
I'm going to work
yeah.
really hard to fight any inclination to go down that road. Tater, I mean, what do you want? He's 6 years old.
Right.
He's not having it. I agree with a
Yeah,
nice natural little recall is a nice thing.
yeah, yeah. And probably why bulldogs are not the breed for me.
Oh God, no.
I like spice and I like spunk, but within measure.
Yeah. No, Tater is spice all day. One thing I will say is you never question where you stand with Tater.
That's true.
Basically, he hates me. But
No, he doesn't. But it is,
ah,
like, very nice when he gets very excited to see you because you can tell,
I
and
don't
then
know
it
what
makes
that
you
looks
feel very
like.
special. You do, you just ignore it. You're just too busy with enjoying Tiago. See
That's
ya.
probably true. How are we going to wrap this up? If you are thinking about another dog
Mhm.
or a new dog, you have 0 and you're thinking about adding a dog, there are physical attributes to consider. There are lifestyle things to consider. And then there are behavioral things to consider. If you start thinking about those things, that might really lead you down the path of, do I want an adult? Do I want a puppy? It might give you more information if you start there and start thinking about the things that are important to you. What do you think?
I agree, yeah, and keep in mind, we can do all the right research, but at the end of the
Mm,
day, each dog is an individual, so you just like Heather says, you just stack the deck in your favor and then work with what you have in front of you as well, and
yeah,
honor the dog that you have in front of you.
yeah. And build a relationship with them. You never know where it
Yeah,
might take you.
exactly.
I love that. That's a great place to stop. We are dropping new episodes every other Thursday. And Christy, where can they find us?
You can find us at Sometimes There's Side Eye on Instagram. Hit us up there. You can also find us on every major podcast platform.
Yep.
So listen, subscribe, and share
And rate.
and rate.
There we go.
We'll get
Uh,
it together one day. Yeah, we'll
Someday.
get it together. Today was not that day.
No. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.